Hello, Melissa.
Hi everybody.
How are you?
I'm good. I was waiting very patiently. How did you know?
I know. I know you were. I know. But I had to finish that amazing slide because, people have to digest it, right? You know that
Oh,
slide, right?
definitely. I know
Yeah.
that slide and I'm excited about it because I'm finally ready to move to the third circle.
Ooh, so that's actually why I invited you tonight, okay? We're going to do two things. First, you're going to introduce yourself, introduce your business, and tell us more of what you do. And then I want you to talk about I want you to be the illustration of what I've been just saying, right? Exactly how you went from your first to second and your second to third circle and marketing activities and where you are today and how this helped you actually have a clear roadmap on what to do. So please share with us.
Okay. So, hi everyone. I'm Melissa Goldwag from Pack for Camp. I sell everything parents need for kids going to camp in America, as well as everything that the same parents, need for their kids coming on gap year to Israel. I worked together with my husband, Gaby Fachler, and we've both been in Natalie's program for the past almost a year, and we've learned a lot from it. I forget all the questions that you told me to say, so I'm a mom of four from Modi'in. We live in Modi'in. I'm originally from New York. Gaby is from South Africa, and we started our business 5 years ago when we both kind of had some time between jobs and we started looking at each other and saying, hey, let's do something together. What can we do? What can we think of? And it all kind of stemmed from my parents, who have had a physical store upstate New York for the past 40 years, where they sell everything that people going on vacation to the Catskills needed. So we started talking with them and thinking about what could be our competitive edge, and we moved into the camp niche, and that's really where we first started.
Okay, great. So tell us, how did you go from, like, in the beginning, what was your marketing strategy? And do like a shortcut, like a fast forward to how did you move from your second circle to your third circle strategy, and what are the results in your business today?
Okay, so what we first did was to turn to my parents' customers and say, "Hey, do you want to buy online also?" My parents were
First
very
circle.
kind. That's my first circle. Yes, I think my parents are the half circle, right? So, we said, "Can you help us out?" And they said, "Sure." And they started collecting emails from people, and at the same time, put us in touch with, both on the side of the customers, people that had been buying from them. They had always collected emails and they never really knew for what. So we then took over the email list that they never used once, even. It was on paper, actually. And as well as the side of the suppliers, because we sell
Right.
goods. So we also got those connections as well. So that's how we started, was this literally handwritten page of maybe 100 emails. And that's how we started, was to just
And that
start
was the
emailing them.
contact and the one-on-one and the calling the people and sending them email. That's how you started. How did you move from the
Mhm.
first to the second circle?
Okay, so when you sell online, a lot of times they're kind of connected because you have less control over moving from the first circle to the second, because once our website was out there, people start sharing it. So before we really did anything, all of a sudden we were in touch. I mean, all of a sudden we were in touch with schools that were sending it out to their kids, that the
Right.
families of the kids that were there. And we were in touch with camps. That was kind of our first move into the second circle, which was to make contacts with strategic partners that were mostly camps in the US. We did work a lot with schools at the beginning, but we dropped that because it wasn't very successful. And those camps help us to get to the camper families. So that's a strategy that we actually use until today, still, because there's new camper families every year. And in order to hit lots of camper families, what better way than to go through the camps?
Exactly. And that's, by the way, is a great reminder that it's not because you start your third circle strategy that you drop your second circle, right? Because whatever is working, you continue. That's for sure, right? So thank you for reminding us of that. So whatever is working, even if you get to, 10 or 20 years in business, you continue doing it. However, you hire people to do it for you, right? But that's another conversation. That's another, that's
Sure. Yes.
another,
You do
right.
hire people eventually when you feel like you can let it go on to the next person. But I didn't even mention what we started doing was with that initial emails, you start collecting more, and we grew our email list. And today I didn't check recently, but probably close to 10,000 people on that email list.
Wow, amazing. Wow, wow. But I loved how you said like, schools, people were sending us to schools, or parents were sending us to. So this is the equivalent of referrals, right? This is the same. This is still second circle, people sending you to sending you to sending
Yes.
you. But then now you are already in the third circle, but you're definitely like diving in the third circle. So tell us like how you're managing the transition.
Well, it's a little bit daunting, and we're not quite there yet. We're kind of our business is very, very seasonal. So, when we're talking about camp, the early birds for camp, the earliest customer will be in February, and those people are Looney Tune, completely crazy, and there aren't so many of them. The bulk of our customers shop from, it's actually not an English date, it's the day after Pesach. So this year it falls out, I think the 23rd of April, something like that. They shop from the day after Pesach through mid-July. So
Right.
it's a very short and very intense season, and we have the rest of the time to get ready for that, which is what we're working on now. What strategies are we going to be using? How much money are we going to be spending? And it's the same thing for the Israel, by the way. It's just slightly shifted. So right now we're on kind of our off season, but our off season is filled with all the other things we don't have time to do when we're running around trying to deal with
Right.
customers and make sure we have enough supplies in the warehouse.
Right, right.
So
So
yeah.
what are the advertising that you are, and by the way, guys, I'm asking questions to Melissa, but do type in the questions if you have for Melissa, because you can get firsthand experience and really like she can answer your questions. So type in either what makes sense for you or what resonates with you, or if you have any questions, type it in and I will make sure to ask Melissa. But you are ready now to actually advertise. So what platforms are you going to advertise? How did you calculate your advertising budget? And why do you say that it's daunting? Like, tell us more about this process around advertising.
Okay, so I'll start with the easier questions, which is kind of
Okay.
the who, the what. So we're leaning towards Google AdWords, including remarketing, but we haven't yet made a final decision. The other option that's a candidate is Facebook ads. And what we're doing now is we're planning to start meeting with experts in both of the two fields to see which better suits our needs and the budget that we've created. Now, you asked what's your budget? So we did set with Natalie, but basically the budget just for the ads themselves is 5% of yearly revenue. So we found ourselves with a really nice amount of money, several $1,000s. That's, officially our ad budget. And that doesn't include actually the consultants themselves and anything around it. So if we're going to do, let's say, a video, so that's on top of that. Or if we're going to use a graphic artist for something, that would be on top of that money. So we will be going to the experts and saying, here's how much money we have. We know how much it is because 5%, when you look at the big picture, it's not that much money. So you can afford to use that money. The reason it's daunting is because of our cash flow. Because of the seasonality of our business, a lot of our money right now is tied up in inventory that's going to sit over the winter. I mean, we try to sell as much as we can, obviously, but you can never empty a warehouse. So we're sitting on a lot of inventory that is not worth any cash at this very moment. So we are also in the process of looking to get a loan so that we'll be able to pay in advance basically for the advertising, which we'll be able to, as soon as the season starts, we'll be able to return that loan. So I would
I
say that's
love
kind of
it.
the daunting part of it is
That's the
because
daunting part,
who
but
wants a loan?
Melissa, can you hear yourself? Can everybody be with me and just like confirm? Like you're talking like such a businesswoman. You're like talking like on top of the, World Trade Center business, like woohoo, my budget, my
Oh yeah.
ads, my experts, my all this, right?
Mm,
So this
yep.
is guys, this is exactly what I want you to see, right? And I see that there's a question. I'm gonna ask that question to Melissa, but before we go to the questions and type in how this is resonating with you. I wanted you to see how getting to the third circle is exciting because it means that we have more budget, we have more revenue, we have more, clients. But like Melissa said, it's also a time for investment, and it's a time for projections and for making sure that we have the right budget and the right expert and the right amount. And so it doesn't mean we don't do it, right? Because we always go to our outside of our comfort zone, we push ourselves, but it means that we need to be ready for it, right? It really, really means that we need to be ready. So let me go to the questions.
One second,
We
Natalie. Let me
have,
just interrupt you for a second because I want to add two things because
yes.
people here, not everybody knows me. So
Oh,
I want to say two things. First of
oh,
all, we did try to go to the third circle before we did the first and second circle, and very quickly realized that it felt like throwing money down the drain. And we
that was
learned very
before you worked
quickly
with me,
of
right?
course it was. Of course it was. But that's one of the things that I often we're on a Shopify entrepreneur group, which is the platform that we sell on. And you see that's everyone's rookie mistake is I put up this website, let me throw money into ads. And you can just throw away whatever money you have that way. The
Right.
second thing I wanted to say was just so you know, a year ago, where was I? Because I sound so inspiring and wonderful. A year ago, it was Gaby and I sitting here. I think we told Natalie in December of last year that we just wanted to be the two of us in our business. And, it was just a family business. We were happy the way we were. And on this bank loan application that I sent in this morning, I wrote, and we are the employers of 4 additional people. So
I love this. Amazing, amazing. Yeah. So growth doesn't go. I mean, it's like it's growing pains, right? It's like it goes with the pains, but yeah. I mean, after a year, you have 4 employees, and you're looking at your budget for advertising, and it's just amazing. So let me just go back to the questions because now
sorry about
I'm
that. Yeah.
losing them now. I forgot who asked because it was. Do you have to give a referral fee to the camps? That's a question. I don't know who asked because I don't have the names, but
Okay, well, that's a good question. The answer
okay.
is yes, but we built that. We built that into, I don't know if it's the marketing model or whatever it is, that we had to give the camps a reason to work with us. Now we
Okay.
have two parts of working with the camps. One is that we sell logo wear and swag with their logo on it. So if they want to sell T-shirts through us, they can do that. Happy to
Okay.
talk to anyone offline about that if they're
Yeah,
interested
you
in
can
hearing
send a
more.
private message. Definitely. Yes.
Sure.
Uh-huh.
And that for that we give them 10% because it's their logo and everything. Now the other side of it is everything else they need for camps. So we originally were
Right.
giving the same percentage, and then we looked at each other and we said, why should we? We're giving them a service to give to their parents, a one-stop shop where they can get everything they need. So we dropped the commission to 5% for everything else, and we're looking to figure out if we can get rid of it altogether. But
Wow.
not the logo
Amazing.
wear. The logo wear, we think they deserve it because we are
Right.
using their logo and their stuff.
Right, right. So basically, it's also a case by case, right? It's not something that you can make across
Sure.
the board, and but it's great. It's a great question. So we have so much enthusiasm, very impressive. Melissa, you have totally bloomed. The
Thank
question:
you.
you sell packages of everything that people need for camp? Yes, the answer is yes. Melissa, you really sound like a very clued up businesswoman, and I'm so impressed with your growth.
Thank
Woohoo!
you.
And we have Hillary. Now I can say names because I can see it on the other screen. Wow, 4. I'm guessing 4 people in your team. Amazing. Wow. So before we let you go, because I promised this would be a 15 minutes really inspiration panel, I want you to give one advice to the people that are listening here and today. As you know, yesterday we did the key numbers. Today we're doing the marketing strategies. And so this big, like knowing when we go from first to second to third circle is something that gives a lot of clarity. I want you to give like one tip or one advice to people in order to know what circle they should focus on and how they should do that. Can you give an advice to people on that?
Sure. I think that it's it's easier, or it seems easier, to start with a third circle, because everyone knows you can make a Canva and you can make an ad and you put the money down and you write your keywords, and it seems so easy kind of to get it done. And obviously the platforms want that, but you really need to do the base work, which is the first circle followed by the second circle, because it's like a building. If you don't have a good base and you need people recommending you, I mean, if nobody's ever heard of Pack for Camp, well, why would they trust me to send them $500 worth of camp stuff? How do they know it's going to get there? How do they know the quality is going to be good? So one of my most exciting moments was when someone came back from a trip to the States and said to me, Melissa, we were talking about you at the Shabbat table in Teaneck. And I said, I've made it. I've made it. So it's really important to have that support first. Really, it starts with your friends and your family, and then that first person who trusts you. I remember that dance we did when we got that first person that we didn't know who, bought that stuff in whenever it was, May of 2017. And then slowly it grows, but you have to have patience. You really have to have patience for it, and do the steps when you're ready for it. Because if you try to jump the gun, it's just like, as I said before, pouring the money down the drain. And chaval, because there's so many free options out there. And I can tell you that we went to a 6-figure in shekels business, over 5 years. And I do think that probably most people are capable of that.
Yep. Whoa, amazing, Melissa. Thank you so much. I love your story. I love your success story. Yours and Gabby, obviously, you'll send in my regards. It's obviously the work for both of us, for both of you. And I think it's very impressive how you're managing this very strategically and every step at the right time. And that's really why I want you to be able to actually give that testimonial, or actually your experience on what you went through. So thank you so much, Melissa. And you can tag Melissa in the chat. I'm sure that if she sees her name tagged, she'll come back if you have any questions, or contact her by private message. Thank you so much, Melissa. We're not done, everyone. So thank you, and we're going to continue. Bye. Thank you.